Hi, Angelica here from Foxer Forest. Thanks so much for joining for this video. I'm the developer of Foxer Forest, and Foxer Forest is Zambia's first sustainable housing development. So here in Zambia, our rainy season lasts for about 4 months of the year, from November to March. But last year we had a fair rainy season, but for the 2 years before that, we actually had a really bad rainy season. We had a drought, and that drought was experienced in the whole of Southern Africa. It's the El Nino drought. But last year we did get some rainfall in February, and when it rained, then it absolutely poured. And what happened is we are located on a bit of on a slope in Foxer Forest, and some of the homeowners at the bottom of the plot, they received about 320 tons of water in about 30 minutes. That's a huge amount of water. A lot of the water from the whole area also then ran further down into Ingwerere River, which is just beyond our development here. And we saw the banks of the Ingwerere River bursting. There's also, unfortunately, a lot of pollution, lots of plastic inside that river. There's farmers along the river, so they found that their fields were full of plastic. There was also huge amounts of water erosion that was created. So what do we do? How do we resolve this problem? And as a sustainable housing development, we see each problem not as a problem, but just in how we can find solutions to those problems. So here in Foxer Forest, we keep as many trees as possible. That will help to keep the ground spongy. Also ensure that all our roads are gravel roads. So we're trying to keep as few surfaces sealed as possible. So it's unsealed surfaces to allow the water to penetrate back into the ground where we need it most. So why am I talking about all of this in relation to cloudburst and rainwater management? It's because when it rains, we need to refill our underground water table rather than just letting the water flow off into, at the moment in Zambia, in Lusaka, most of the water is drained into Ingwerere River, where the banks of the river are bursting and it's causing huge amounts of erosion. So we want to manage the water in a much more sustainable way, creating spongy areas, and then also looking at sustainable infrastructure as well. So in terms of how we're planning to manage the water with sustainable infrastructure, there's 4 things that we're doing. I'm going to walk around and show them to you. So here in my home, it's a 3,000 square meter piece of land. So from over here where I'm, from my view, I can see that the slope of this land is sloping from the western side to the eastern side. And something that seems completely obvious, but I think we sometimes forget about it, that when it rains from the sky, the water then falls onto the ground. And it's our responsibility as each homeowner with each plot to try to collect as much of the water that falls on our individual plot as possible, before the water then runs off onto the road and then starts collecting from each different plot and causing havoc and erosion along the road, and then further collecting as you go further down the slope. So you can see we've set it out over here. We're digging it down to 1.5 meters deep. We will then fill it up with some big stones, some slightly smaller stones, and then I'm going to put pebbles on top of this set out area. So the idea is that when it rains, this long rainwater harvesting pit, it runs all the way along the length of my plot at the lowest point of my plot. And when the rain falls from the sky, it then runs off and starts to drain. I'm standing in one of the storm drain rainwater harvesting pits, which we've done for another homeowner. You can see that we've used some of the really big soakaway stones, and then we filled it up with the crushed stone. There'll be a little bit more crushed stone on top of this, so it will bring it to the road level, and then the storm water will be directed straight into this storm drain rainwater harvesting pit. So this is what we call our enormous rainwater harvesting pit. It's located at the very bottom of Foxer Forest, at the bottom of the slope, and it's an area which is along a footpath. You can see over here we filled it up with the big soakaway stones. We'll put some crushed stone and a few pebbles on top. Our borehole is also located in this area. So that's really interesting for us to be able to collect a lot of water in this area and sink it right where our borehole is. And I'm hoping that with all the initiatives that we're doing in the development, that the water table, that we'll have risen the water table in this area. So where I'm standing over here is where we're going to be working on some of our road drainage infrastructure as well. We are going to be digging some drains along the road, and then the drain will go along this area here, and it will then be directed into the pit, which we just saw just now, the pit inside my plot. Each plot will have a pit, and water from the roads will be directed into the pit. So where I'm standing over here, we have a slope, which is by the entrance of Foxtail Forest. So we're building some drainages along the road here. And what we're doing over here is, you can see we're doing some stepped drains. The reason why we're doing that is we want to slow down the pace of the water as much as possible. When we slow down the pace of the water, when it runs down the slope, it means that we're reducing the amount of erosion that happens from the road, also erosion on the sides of the drain, and we're also giving the water a bit of time to seep down into the ground, which again is where we need the water most. This area, it's some of the lowest lying land in Foxtail Forest, and this is the area where literally during the rainy season and during a period where there was some cloudburst, there was literally a river which was running along this road. It was, a good almost half a meter deep of water, because so much water had run from the upper areas, or rather the entire plot, and just collected in the lowest lying areas. So again, just in terms of concluding, the idea of this cloudburst rainwater harvesting pit project that we have, it's really to collect as much water on each individual plot as possible and sink the water as quickly as possible where it lands, so that it doesn't all start gathering in one area.